move into WrestleMania season, we thought we'd have a look at our favorite WrestleManias. I had a decision to make because my two favorites, not necessarily my favorites, I suppose when I was growing up, or what kind of got me into it and has a microphone 2 inches from my face at the moment, is because of the WrestleMania 6 main event. But I moved on and I decided to go for WrestleMania 7 instead. Nicky watched it entirely. I told him he didn't have to do that, but he just wanted. Oh, you watched it in full as well. Yeah. I told you just had to look up the results and look up the stuff that's important. But they sat there and watched it. Fair play.
Dedication. This is the dedication we have to this podcast.
Exactly. I needed input into the show, but this must have been a pure nostalgia trip for you because there was one good match.
I loved it. I just love this show, and it's a very interesting show. So if you don't mind, lads, let me take you back to March 24th, 1991. So, Arsenal, having drawn with Norwich away the day before, it was a tough draw away at Carrow Road.
See about Arsenal is they always try to walk in it.
That's it, you see. But don't worry, Nicky, it went well for them. They were on their way to dethroning the then champions of England, Liverpool.
Fuck off.
That's how long ago this was. And the Premier League was yet 18 months away. But people on the day, Nicky, had a decision to make. Would they order WrestleMania 7 on pay-per-view, or would they spend the night at the cinema to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, which was released that week. And removed
see Turtles.
And it removed The Silence of the Lambs as the #1 movie at the box office that very day on March 24th, 1991, with a $20 million opening weekend.
So I see where you're going from here. The show was so bad, you're going to cover whatever else was happening that wasn't the show.
I'm trying to build the atmosphere to it. I'm like, to do something similar. We're trying to bring our listeners on a journey here. Journey through time.
Okay.
Brian Adams had yet to torture the world with Everything I Do It For You. For the soon-to-be released movie, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. There's No Other Way by Blur came out in April. So this is a time before that. So we exist in a world before Enter Sandman, which came out in July, and Smells Like Teen Spirit was to take over the world in September of 1991.
Is this a wrestling podcast anymore?
I'm doing the Premier League.
I have some background for the show written in my notes if you want some extra relevant stuff.
Then we're doing it. Don't worry. I was just building it. Trying to paint a picture here with some words, Nick. For the love of God. So we get to the actual wrestling part. I can't hear you anyway. So
we lost a bit.
So that was the background. That's all I was doing. And thanks for shitting on everything. Thanks, lads. I'm going to put a lot of work into that.
And it's on.
That was fucking marvellous. I'm actually fucking crying here.
You know what you can't find on the internet? The biggest dance craze of 1991. Because all it gives you is a list of dance songs. Because I wanted to go blah, blah, blah. And everyone was doing the blah, blah, blah. But no, it didn't work.
Macarena. Is it the Macarena? When was that?
That was 97. Fitz might be able to get that in, actually.
Yeah. So, I do have to get through this a little bit quicker than I wanted, but sure, look. WrestleMania 7 was a tale of endings in some way. It was the tale of the WrestleMania end of some great tag teams that started the singles careers of two of the biggest stars in the history of pro wrestling and the Repo Man. It was the beginning of a streak. It was the only time a venue had to happen because of the main event. Well, they said it was for security reasons, but it wasn't. They'd sold 16,000 tickets in a 100,000-seater stadium, so it wasn't going to work. And it was the first WrestleMania for a man that does not exist versus the last WrestleMania for a man who was later executed by the Mafia. Now for you, Dino Bravo was found dead in his house with the remote control in his hand.
Investigative journalism.
I'm telling you. And was also scene of the greatest moment in WrestleMania history. So it was Superstars and Stripes Forever, American patriotism during the Gulf War. Willie Nelson sings the national anthem decked in Hulkamania gear.
And I loved his belt. The belt, yeah, he was wearing a proper title belt as a belt.
Yeah, that's how he does. That's Willie for you. He commits to the part. So as I mentioned, the venue was originally scheduled to be held at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, but was moved to the LA Memorial Sport Arena nearby because it only sold 16,000 of the 100 tickets. They reckoned it was because of the Iraqi sympathizer angle they were going with Sergeant Slaughter, but it wasn't. The tag team things I mentioned. The Rockers, the Hart Foundation, and Demolition had their last WrestleMania main event. It was the last televised match for the Hart Foundation, who lost the tag team titles to the Nasty Boys. Demolition jobbed out two Japanese lads, I can't remember their names, in under 5 minutes. Smash became Repo Man after this, jobbing to undercards to people like Kerry Von Erich, Greg Valentine, and Ricky Steamboat. And Crush, because Crush left for a year. The Rockers. So the backstage, this was their last match because they were having legit backstage fights over money. There was a WCW deal in place that Jannetty had been sold a song, but and Michaels didn't believe it. That a legit fight in a bar instigated by Roddy Piper and had forced WWF to break them up. Randy Savage stopped Jannetty being arrested by telling the cops it was part of a storyline. True story. The Rockers split up in December 1991 that year, of course, with the barbershop window. And the Road Warriors, this was all because I think a lot of these tag teams broke up because Vince had finally signed the Road Warriors. And they had a squash match which lasted 59 seconds on WrestleMania 7 against Power and Glory. Oh, yeah. That's all the shite out of the way.
WrestleMania debut of the Ascension. The Ascension have been on a WrestleMania and the fucking Usos haven't.
So the streak began that night. So there's a historic moment for WrestleMania 7.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah. So The Undertaker beat Jimmy Snuka in 4 minutes and the streak began. It went for 21 matches all the way up to WrestleMania 29 against CM Punk. But then next year he lost it to Lesnar. Cue booing.
Boo.
Here's an interesting one from this one as well. The Intercontinental title match. Nikki, did you watch the promo before it?
I'm scrolling through my notes. I'm assuming I did. Yes, I did. Yes.
Did you pick up on what they meant? The Mr. Perfect and Bobby Heenan referenced the Rodney King incident that happened 3 weeks before WrestleMania 7,
yes.
where 4 white police officers were filmed clubbing an unarmed black man 56 times. And Mr. Perfect says, you won't find Mr. Perfect on his back giving the big boss man 56 free swipes.
Was it 1991 or 2017?
Yeah, 1991. This shit they wouldn't have been able to get away with saying. I hadn't watched the network version. I had my old original VHS tape that I watched, you see. Legally obtained, of course. So did they leave that in on the network version, I wonder?
That's there.
My God. I thought they'd cut that out.
Oh, they cut nothing because even the backstage promo with Regis, Alex Trebek, and fucking, what's her name?
Marla Maples.
That was cringy as fuck. Because they fucking mean G creeping all over. That was fucking creepy. They did not cut any of that shit out either.
So that led to the LA riots, of course, with dozens of deaths and hundreds of $1 million in property damage. But that was good enough for a pro wrestling promo for some reason. A few of my notes from the match was Boss Man against Mr. Perfect. Nobody gets thrown over the top rope like Mr. Perfect. It's fantastic. He looks like he's going to die every time he does it. Andre the Giant comes out to even the odds with Heenan at ringside, which doesn't make any sense. But then Haku and the Barbarian attack the Boss Man to cause a DQ. So Perfect retains, Boss Man wins. Note from this, Andre the Giant looked in bad shape here.
He could barely walk.
Really bad. Yeah,
it was sad. It was sad seeing him. He was using the ring the ring apron to hold himself up.
Yeah.
That was bad. But anyway, I go to the main events part of it. So the two feuds entering WrestleMania 91 were between Hogan and Slaughter, and the Ultimate Warrior and the Macho King Randy Savage. And
you left out the most important feud of all.
Go on. I left out a lot of things. I'm only going for the topics.
Ted DiBiase versus Virgil. You made me sit through a Virgil match. We're fucking talking about
I made you do nothing. I told you to watch the normal things and not be stupid and watch Virgil matches.
Virgil won a fucking WrestleMania match on this show. This is why this whole show should be stricken from fucking history.
Oh, and you also forgot the blindfold match.
I know, again, Rick Martel against Jake the Snake. I was going to cover them in the results at the end, lads. I'm getting to the talking points, you dickheads. So, Macho King and the Warrior. So, the backstory, okay? So, Warrior defeated Hogan last year at WrestleMania 6, and he went into 1991 as the champion. Sergeant Slaughter had returned to WWF at the time, and he was coming back as the Iraqi sympathizer as the Gulf War waged. So Slaughter beat Warrior at Royal Rumble for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship, with Macho Man interfering and hitting him in the head with the Royal Scepter. So that was setting up the Warrior match, and of course you don't have to figure out. It's very easy to figure out why Hogan and Slaughter fought. America.
Pew, pew.
Fought for America.
Pew. Pew, pew.
So I'm going to go to the WWF title match first because that's not the main event. We're going to skip through this very quickly. Very normal, basic Hulk Hogan match. He comes out. He comes out with Old Glory and a massive fucking flagpole, brings it out. Slaughter has his flag. Blah blah blah. Hogan was like a camel clutch or something. He was in for ages. He powered out. We had the comeback and all that. Blah blah blah. One point I thought was fun was Slaughter trying to pin Hogan with the flag draped over him after the camel clutch part. But Hogan does the boot of doom, the leg drop of doom, waves Old Glory around with his face covered in blood, and that's how the show went off the air.
I think he done a boo boo because I think after the match he actually wiped some of his blood off with an American flag that had been thrown to him, which I'm pretty sure is.
He did.
That's a bad Hogan.
Also, that's a bad Hogan.
Yeah. Also in this match, they were saying how like Slaughter was trying to get himself disqualified. He blatantly used a steel chair multiple times, and ref was looking right at him.
Yep, Earl Hebner, not a good night for Earl.
Nothing.
To be fair, Earl was too busy thinking about what fucking t-shirts he could swipe himself in the car. The one thing that popped into my head, and it was during the entrance, was fucking General Adnan. Do you remember when all the Iraqi and fucking the war, the second Gulf shit kicked off? There was a lad who, wasn't they called him Comical Ali? Your man who he'd show up on the fucking thing like, the infidels will never penetrate this city or whatever, when his fucking American tanks just fucking rolling in right behind him. That's absolute fucking Egypt. But just watching General Adnan, just all that popped into my head was Comical Ali, and it's all I could see for the whole match.
So we go to the actual main event, which should have been. It was halfway down the card. I don't know how that happened.
It was the halftime main event because they had an intermission.
Craziness. Craziness.
I like that though. The intermission was literally just showed a bunch of interviews.
That's fine. But
it was good.
Positioning on the card is the problem. It's a retirement match, and there was a legit reason behind this as well. Randy Savage had said he was done. Real life situation. He was finished. He had just come back from wrist surgery, and he was talking about hanging it up, and he did because he was a commentator after that before going to WCW and all that sort of bollocks. But anyway. The retirement match, which was set up at the Rumble, Randy Savage was begging the Ultimate Warrior for a match, and he wouldn't give him one, so he went in for the WWF title at the time. But of course, Sergeant Slaughter beating him meant he was free. So we had a retirement match, and it had the greatest moment in WrestleMania history. I won't have anything said against it. So Macho Man came out with Sherry on a throne, which was fucking hilarious. All the gear, the ring gear is flying. Macho Man has the cap and blue and white gear. He looks ridiculous. Sherry holds the ropes open for Macho King as Elizabeth looks on from the crowd. That's like kind of foreshadowing for something that would be happening later. Warrior had to walk to the ring because the ramp was so short. The entranceway was so short. He couldn't run or he wouldn't have been able to stop. So weird. Class ring gear again. Warrior had one face. He'd Macho Man's face on one knee and his own face on the other knee pad. It was very strange.
Velveteen Dream.
Velveteen. You saying the Warrior ripped off Velveteen Dream?
No, I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying that's where Dream gets his shit from. That and Rick Rude.
Rick Rude, yeah. So the big spot in the match was Macho Man. He does that spot where he grabs the guy by the neck and he runs to the top rope and jumps over the rope and hangs him up. Then he hits the power slam in the middle of the ring, and Macho King hits 5 elbow drops in a row. Warrior sold the first 2, and after that he sold it like he was dead, which is great. And Bobby Heenan goes, "Undertaker, we've got another customer for you." Nice touch. Not the big dog. So Warrior kicks out. Randy sells the shock of the whole thing. He can't understand what's happening. Warrior reaches out for the ropes, arms quivering, paint peeling off of his brow, lads. And Macho starts double axe handles to keep him down. Warrior shakes the ropes. He gets the power. The Warrior's back. And starts the running clotheslines. Press slam, splash, 1, 2, kick out. What's going on? Warrior wonders. He looks to the heavens, asking if he's done. He talks to his hands. Is it time for me to step down? He's waiting for an answer. He goes to leave. He's on the apron with Hebner, who's telling him, "You're going to get counted out. You're going to have to retire, blah, 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 blah." But Randy attacks him and knocks him down. Savage and Sherry hold him against the guardrail, and Randy goes inside to drop the double axe handle, but Warrior hits him in midair and gets out of the way. He looks at his hands again and he gets the message that he's not done. The Warriors have told him. They've bestowed the power back into his hands, you see.
It's all
I love
the
wrestling.
It's to get these hands.
To get these hands. Long before Strowman knew what it was. So we have the shoulder tackle thing. It was a weird finish to the match where Warrior picked him up, did his run while he's holding his hair, hits 3 shoulder barges, knocks him out of the ring each time, drags him back in. He does a 1 foot kind of pin as he press slams the air. He gets his jacket and the Warrior's out of there. But that's not the story of the match at all, is it, Nicky?
It's not, Steve. Please enlighten us on the real story.
The greatest moment ever. So Queen Sensational Sherry, comes in and starts kicking Randy Savage, the bitch, in the body, kick after kick after kick, a wagon of a woman. But Elizabeth's in the crowd. She hits the ring and literally throws her out of the ring. There was no back and forth with punches. She grabbed her by the back of the head and fucked her out of the ring. Liz goes to help him up, and Randy's swinging. He's like, oh, he still thinks it's Sherry. I just like Charmel, Queen Charmel.
That would have been a different story.
That would have been a very different story. LA riots.
Different shark. Different shark.
Different shark. But yeah, so then, he gets up and then he thinks that it was Elizabeth that was doing it, and he asks the crowd, and this is so 80s, early 90s wrestling. He doesn't know what's going on. He's exaggerating everything, and he's asking the crowd what he should do. And of course, he realized that it wasn't Elizabeth, it was Sherry. The ref tells him as well. It was weird. And they point, Macho Man points at him, and then they go and hug. And the minute they hug, the music hits. Beautiful moment, lads. Beautiful moment. The place goes crazy.
You're such a romantic, Steve.
I'm not, though. I just loved it. The people are crying in the crowd. Lads, I'm tight for time. I literally have about 90 seconds.
You're supposed to talk over this. This is your background.
No, it was hang on. Seriously, I don't have time for this, lads. I can't talk over that. It just comes out and comes crackly. So, yeah, people going crazy. They're crying in the crowd. Randy has her up on her shoulder. Elizabeth goes to hold the ropes open for Macho Man, but he does the very exaggerated thing. No. And he holds the ropes open for her, the callback from earlier. And my favourite shot of the night, Elizabeth is outside, Randy's inside celebrating. The camera shot from just behind Elizabeth's shoulder, showing her cheering him on as Randy celebrates. Just the way it used to be, lads. Perfect. And then he lost the match. Oh, she's ringing me now. He lost the match, but he's got something more valuable, his woman, and then Brain. I'd rather have the match. Hold on now. Hello, you're live on the internet. Hello. Where are you now?
I'm pretty sure Steve would rather have the match than the woman right now.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up. So
Allegedly. Sorry.
Potentially.
Please don't stab us, Kira.
Yeah, no, she's going to kill you all in your sleep. But that's my notes now. So another point in it. The Warrior, Macho Man, Elizabeth, and Sherry, all dead. And the people on commentary, both dead.
I was literally playing Alive or Dead all show.
Pressing way to end it, lads, but everyone's dead. Same another match.
Good night, everybody.
like we will be when Kira fucking gets her hands on it.
Macho Man and Mr. Perfect, or not? Boss Man and Mr. Perfect both dead in that match as well.
Both dead.
And Curry Von Erich against Dino Bravo. Lots of this.
Warlord versus British Bulldog.
Yeah. A lot of that going on. Jake the Snake Roberts still alive. How did he survive?
Donald Trump on the show. We'll all be dead soon.
Yeah. And Undertaker against Jimmy Snuka, both men dead.
I do.
Dead man.
I have one note I wrote. Fuck's sake. I had one note I wrote in all caps, literally said, Jesus Christ, if Dino Bravo can be on a fucking WrestleMania, then so can I.
Don't worry, he got shot in the head. So
yeah, because someone watched that fucking Mania match.
He had some cigarette ring or something. He married into the mob, and then they killed him. It's the rumor because he had some
allegedly.
Oh shit! She's ringing my doorbell. He had a counterfeit denim operation running out of his car hole. Someone get that joke? No. Ah,
I got it.
Simpsons.
I understood that reference.
for him.
out of his car hole.
Yeah.
I literally have to end the show now, lads. Unless you want to talk between yourselves for 2 seconds, and I'll come right back. You're fucking useless.
So Gordo, tell us about Naya.
She's shit. Like ridiculously shit.
But outside of the ring, what sort of person is Naya?
She's lovely. She believes in a very body positive environment. Hashtag no fat shaming. Hashtag fat chicks need love too. Jesus Christ! I fucking hate that.
At least do the wrap up.
She's lovely.
Oh no, we were just talking about
Yeah.
Naya. That Gordo just
All right, okay.
buried himself.
Don't worry, I'll probably cut all of this.
I'll bury myself in Naya later.
So, anyways, I have to go now, or I'm dead.
Boo.
Oh, she brought me chocolate apparently, but she doesn't realize that we're on the internet.
Wait.
Anyway.
Laugh to tape.
Live to tape. Okay, so yeah, so that's this show. I have to go now, so I don't have time for plugs. Someone do them quick.
What 2-Bit Sports for 2bitsports.com, 2-Bit Sports on Twitter, 2-Bit Wrestling on Twitter, 2-Bit Sports on Facebook. Search us on YouTube because we don't have a thing, and find us on iTunes and
SoundCloud, Stitcher,
SoundCloud,
everywhere
Stitcher.
iTunes feeds into.
Yes,
We're on
perfect.
all of them. Just search for 2-Bit Sports on the fucking internet. We're out there.
Yeah, subscribe on YouTube. And now, from now on, this is our new ending to every show. We're going to rush it.
Do the Jericho thing. What Jericho says do for him, do for 2-Bit
on
Sports.
iTunes, do all that. I have to go. Bye.
The planet needs them. Bye, Kira.